Namaskar. Is the voice clearer now? देवेन जी, हमारी आवाज आ रही? आप म्यूट पे हैं शायद।
So happy Saturday, everyone. So this satsang workshop that we do every day, or not every day, every Saturday, um, since the pandemic, today is a special occasion. I have a room full of people because we are celebrating Guru Purnima or Guru's Day, like Father's Day, since ancient times. And yesterday we were listening about its significance and what it means. And it started like thousands of years ago. So we were talking about all that. So today, basically, we'll just go over the usual agenda that we keep for these workshops. Like we start with, you know, a satsang overview, and then usually we have a weekly topic. And today's topic is, how to eliminate self-doubt. And the reason, one, I was reading or listening to a TED talk, which talked about, Peter Sage talked about, how to eliminate self-doubt. But everything he said, I have been listening since I was a kid. So, Guru Maharaj has talked about these things, from the get-go, because his practice basically addresses all or, even broader things talked about in that TED talk. And then, as usual, we will meditate. And following that, we typically open it up for interaction, either questions, comments, thoughts. And there are folks here, they can participate, and online as well. But today, this is an extended version. So once we wrap up the English session, we will connect to Jaipur, and my brother Amitji will, be online. But that portion will be in Hindi. But just wanted to talk about the agenda for today. So talking about the satsang overview, these workshops, we put it on Eventbrite, so a lot of people who do not know about satsang join. So just a high level, that satsang is made up of two words, like sat being the transcendental energy, and sang means to be with. So to be with transcendental energy is satsang. And there are some core aspects to it, the core tenets, the way Guru Maharaj, evolved this practice. There are some key features. One is meditation is at the core, and inward orientation. So it's all about, like, satsang can be in multiple ways, kirtans, and so many different ways you can be in satsang. But Guru Maharaj talked about looking inwards and eventually, for a short period, meditating in silence. And all that in a group setting. So not only you build an individual practice, but as a group, you evolve your collective energy, your collective state. Um, and then what all that leads to is joy and inner peace. So that's what the target is. So now switching over to today's topic, so self-doubt. So before I go into some of the detail, when I look at youngsters, a lot of people today have more self-doubt than I have seen before. Because one, a strong belief system should inculcate beliefs and habits and thought processes that should address self-doubt. But I think the opposite is happening in the current culture. So one of the key things that we need to think about, and this TED talk by Peter Sage, refers to that. I have also started a newsletter on Substack, and that is going out, satsang.substack.com. It's, so basically, this was one of the newsletters about eliminating self-doubt I posted just yesterday. And one of the key things there is that your unconscious mind drives 95% of your decisions. So this, long time back, I read about this. I have talked about this several times. We are always involved in our conscious mind, but if you see, your conscious decisions are only 5%. It's very strange. We are always caught up in the conscious mind, but only 5% of the decisions are made by the conscious mind. 95% is made by the unconscious mind. So Peter says, if your conscious mind is an ant, ek cheetie ki tarah. So if your conscious mind is an ant, your unconscious mind is an elephant. And your ant cannot drive the elephant. Actually, your ant is sitting on the elephant. Where the elephant will go, that is where you are headed. So aligning the unconscious mind to your purpose, your goals, and where do some of your core habits live? Unfortunately, in the unconscious mind. And can you directly program the unconscious mind? Not really. So how do you change your habits? How do you, change the track that you are on? So, behavioral transformation, emotional clarity, and higher consciousness can come through disciplined practice. And in satsang, everybody kind of sort of knows that, if you want to, we have heard this again and again and again from all our satsang leaders, that if your behavior is not changing, then you're not doing something right. Satsang should change your behavior, period. Emotional clarity and the resulting higher consciousness. But then there was, in this TED talk, there was a very interesting point that I want to highlight. comfort versus growth. We all are seeking comfort. In satsang, I have heard again and again, this is the easier path. Yes, relatively, maybe. But comfort and growth may not be, coming at the same time, in the sense that you need self-discipline for its material things or spiritual things. So comfort versus growth, you have to, through self-discipline, tackle ego, emotions, and habit. And where will you get the inner strength? And that I always feel what satsang meditation gives you is the ability to develop that inner strength through which you bring change, through which you bring self-discipline. But if you do not implement it, then we have a problem. So 3 things were talked about in this talk. Remove negative input. So 24/7, if you're listening to things that increase your self-doubt or put you in bad habits or increase your focus on those bad habits, how's anything going to change? And he talks about current day's news. What is news media doing? News media knows in our brain, the way we are wired towards negative things is enormous, right? All they have to do is start with the negative news and you are hooked. That's how we are wired. So what do we have to do? Remove negative input, or at least minimize as far as you can. Then he says, add positive influences. So if you are plan to go north, figure out who you could travel with, what you could read that could help, what you could do that could help, right? And then recondition your inner landscape. But interesting thing is, since a young child in satsang, what all I have heard? Satsang is opposite to kusang. So bad company is opposite to good company. Satsang was the only focus Guru Maharaj had. He said, so interestingly, in the book about devotion, Guru Maharaj started talking about what are the biggest hurdles. And obviously, your anger, lust, and greed, and all those things come in. The yam and niyam he referred to. But what was the first thing he said? Eliminate bad company, because that's opposite to satsang. So removing negative input, adding positive influences. So positive influences what? Read. Guru Maharaj wrote and wrote and wrote. He traveled and talked about these things as well. So he created an ecosystem where the positive influences would influence your life and take it in a different direction. And reconditioning your inner landscape, the meditation that we do and we will do now, what does it do? Reconditions your inner landscape. So if you do these 3 things, and what this talk talks about and what Guru Maharaj says is that, self-doubt is because we don't know ourselves. So Panditji Maharaj, Guru Maharaj's, torch bearer, he took his message everywhere. In one of his books about the self-realization journey, Haridarshan Ki Yatra, he starts by saying that we think that we are temporary. We think that we are bubbles on the ocean. The journey, the spiritual journey, is to take you from that state where you think you are the bubble on the ocean to a state where you think that you are the ocean. तो हम सागर के ऊपर बुलबुले हैं या सागर है? So the journey is from self-doubt to becoming the ocean itself, so huge that the energy, the peace, the love, the light is in so much abundance. You have that. All you have to do is start looking inwards. So we'll talk about this further. We'll interact about this after the session. But let's meditate first, because that is one, it's a positive influence. It keeps away from the negative influence, and it, rewires the inner self. So eyes lightly closed. And still and relaxed posture. And now feel the presence of this transcendental energy in form of light right here, right now. And this light is entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you're becoming one with this light. So all you're thinking about is that you are in this presence of this transcendental energy in form of light, and that light is enlightening your heart and then distributing throughout the body. You are becoming the light. But mind will wander away. When you find that your mind is elsewhere, just bring it back to this thought and this thought alone. That you're in front of this transcendental energy in form of light that's entering your heart and distributing throughout your body. So we'll start with music, then music fades away, then we go deep into silent meditation on this transcendental light, and then we transition out with music again. So let's start now.
Come on, people. What is going on here?
So till the top of the hour, like 15 minutes, we'll just interact, informal interaction, questions, thoughts, comments, online, especially if you either you can put it in the chat, and Bhanu, you can send it to me. And another way is you raise your hand online, and then one would unmute you. So before we go there, one of the interesting thoughts about unconscious mind that I read a few months ago, and it was, and how the mind works. I have been reading Guru Maharaj and the satsang leaders' literature, lectures, books, and still it was kind of startling. It said that your unconscious mind doesn't have a equivalent of a no. So your conscious mind, you can say yes or no. But that's not how the unconscious mind works. Conscious mind, there are decisions. Unconscious mind is reflex action. So what that means is if you have a good or bad habit, it just happens. So how many of those are things that you would say no to, but you cannot? That was like, wow, that much control we have on ourselves. That's amazing. So comfort versus growth connects with that in the sense that if you want the inner superhighways to be working the way you want, you need to work on that through self-discipline. You need to create habits, and each habit takes weeks to get to the reflex action mode. Imagine when you were trying to drive, how hard it was. And then it becomes reflex action, how easy it is. So all your habits need to go from the conscious to the unconscious. That means it'll take weeks of hard work out of your comfort zone till you get to that easy part. Very, very, to me, it was like, wow, interesting way to look at it. So any thoughts, questions, comments? See, you want to use this? Because it won't go online, right?
Thank you so much. My question is, many times for me, self-doubt comes from external factors, like if I'm moving to a new environment where I don't know anyone. So I can control myself, my feelings sometimes, but how to take control of the external factors? Thank you.
So, so today I'm talking about Substack because one of the efforts we are trying to do is like, as I started these English sessions, where is the content, right? Guru Maharaj wrote booklets. There was a monthly newsletter, and there were hundreds of books, right? So So your question ties into another post that, was actually so far has been the most reacted to. How can we stay at peace in toxic surroundings? Right? Your question is very similar, that I get affected by the external environment. So there are two thoughts that are coming to me. But first, that post talks about there are things happening outside, but what's happening to you? You are reacting from your inside, right? So we need to differentiate between outer events and inner states. Because outer event, so Papaji, my father, described a situation where this guy was running. He, got like, somehow fell down while running and was unconscious. So one person came by. He was so drunk, he thought this guy must have been drunk too. Right? There's another guy who stole something and was running away. He looked at him, oh, this guy must be another one who was running away like me and, fell down. And then there was a sage walking by. He said, oh, this guy needs help. Let me help. Same person, same situation, outer event. Three people, completely different reactions, right? Because their inner states were different. So in the scriptures, in Upanishads, there is this 5-step Panchkosh, 5 realms. So 5 realms are inner states. So depending on which realm you are in, you will react to that outer event. So if you are on lower realms, safety and security is your focus. Mine, me, right? I am safe, I'm good, this guy can suffer a little, right? But you go a little further up, and realm of mind in the middle, you're like 50-50. Oh, this guy is suffering, I should do something. Hey, but I have that urgent meeting, right? So the intent and the empathy is growing, but not there yet, right? So sometimes I'll go and help if I can. I'm not really too keen to suffer for others. Then at the top, when the light evolves, you are connected. When you know you're connected, the second thing happens, it's love arrives. The unselfish, unconditional, selfless. And there you become so aware of everything that's happening around you. So this awareness increases. And your consciousness says like, these are all conscious beings and I'm in that pool. And their suffering is my suffering. And the whole state changes. So inner state defines how you're reacting to the outer events. So first you need to uplift yourself, rewire your inner, landscape or the unconscious mind so you can react differently. Right? So that's the long. Did you send it to me personal? Oh, goodness. Hi, Paula. Thank you for great question. How do you eliminate the bad habits? Good. Anybody to rescue here? So maybe I'll go out on a limb and tell you what I really feel about this. Then I'll probably backtrack a little and come to the right conclusions. But um, we actually do not come like a lot of other animals who have very small brain, and they have, you know, this situation that happens, this situation that happens, and, you know, very limited control. Humans take a couple of decades to learn to live. Why? Because we have grown our brain to a point where it has to be programmed. Unfortunately, so first thing, and I'm going back to my teens, I read about behavioral psychology, and one of the books that I started with said that everything that you learn, everything, maybe 90%, is in your first 5-6 years. Whoa, what? So what happens is that for first 5-6 years, your brain is a recording machine. Not only it records the external events, it also records your feelings. And then all you do rest of your life is you relive those moments. I don't like this smell. That person loves that smell. You live in the same house. Siblings react very differently to same things. Why? Because their journey, their reaction to things were recorded differently. So because of so much input that we are getting today from social media and everywhere else, what you will record in your brain, you will live with. So bad habits are learned phenomena. We created those with good, bad, or, you know, whatever intention. So if you can learn, you can also unlearn. So in that book that I read in the 70s, I think, it said that once you grow up and you find that you are almost programmed to behave in a certain way when certain stimulus happens, then you can put an adult hat on and say, I'm not going to do this. It's not that easy, but you can reprogram to react differently. And the more you put the override into action, the neuroscience word for this is neuroplasticity, right? As you change your behavior, your brain changes. So you can learn new skills, do them consistently, it becomes a new habit. And some of those habits you could create to replace the old so-called bad habits. So Am I on track here? So, but Paula, I think this question, how do you eliminate bad habits? I think I'll definitely write an article on that, and maybe some. I actually intend to say that going forward, I think the English content, I think between volunteers and voluntold, which is nominated to be volunteers. Um, so I right now have 8 people here in the room who we were told to work on it, and probably there are 2 or 3 more. So 11 is a good number, I think. And what that means is that Substack right now for last couple of months, twice a week, we're publishing. I would like that if everyone does what they need to do, and this is an invite, we can be posting one a day, between blog articles, podcasts, and YouTube videos. I think going forward, you should see a lot of English content coming through. So how does one know that unconscious mind, that is the elephant, is coming in control? How does one know that unconscious mind, that is the elephant, is in control like the ant? I think, whose question is this? Huh? There is some typo here. Trying to understand. So how does one know that the unconscious mind is in control, rather than the ant? Okay. So let's think about this. The conscious mind is supposed to be in control. And that's what makes us feel that we are in control. But because it only affects 5% of our decisions, like when you're driving, most of the decisions are reflex action, right? But your conscious mind is still working to see if there is some hazard, some issue, some warning. So it's not that you're completely on cruise control. The conscious mind is looking for, conscious mind is very important, right? It's like the fight and flight. Immediate action has to be. So there is another part of the brain. So brain is a very complex, and I think we need to understand more as us human beings, that how this operates. And what's interesting is Guru Maharaj has written so much about it, and and I think neuroscience is kind of going back and validating some of it and questioning some of it. And I think we'll be better off knowing how our brain operates. So what has happened is the conscious mind makes us feel that we are in control through this conscious effort, while the elephant, which is the 95% of the decisions being made elsewhere. So I actually attended multiple bias and how we are almost, we like certain people and dislike certain people. And is that a bias? No, that's the mechanism how brain works, because brain has the ability to very quickly come to some conclusions based on the past experience or some ground rules that have been prepared by our brain for ourselves, for our safety, right? And so what happens is that there could be certain biases that are within our brain, not questioned, just acted upon. So that's how. So what happens? This is I don't know how far I want to go into this, but sometimes within 30 seconds of seeing a new person, you actually make up so much of decisions about this person. Whoa, that's how fast. So how much of that will be actually really consciously thought of and really rational? No, that's not the rational part of the brain. So meditation, mindfulness, counting to 10, all those things, what it does is takes us to another part of the brain where logic and reflection and some thinking happens, that why am I doing this? Or why am I thinking this? And then you come to different conclusions sometimes. So it's a combination of things that works. So unconscious mind, or 95% of the activity in the brain is there to help us, but there are certain pieces that we need to question, certain pieces we need to reprogram, certain, and the backdrop was that if we're doing self-sabotage, if we are having self-doubt, if we are not really understanding why we dislike certain sets of people, we need to, do some reprogramming there. All right. There is more. How to identify subtle bad habits which affects our progress. No rescue here.
That's why
how to identify subtle bad habits which affects our progress. It's yeah. Right. I think this question raises more questions, I think. Because actually I'll go back 2 further steps back. It's like, so first, what we are calling bad habits. How do we come to that conclusion? And second is, what do we call progress? Because that is where most of the time when people come and talk about progress, they are just talking about how they compare with others. If you take this 5 realms, or the pyramid that I call it, so there are 5 realms, and you are, on a higher state or a lower state. To me, that's progress. So there is a book called Power of Focus by the writers of the Chicken Soup series, what they said was you need to differentiate between horizontal movement versus vertical growth. So vertical growth is like moving from one kosh to another, or from one realm, lower realm to a higher realm. That's vertical growth. That takes effort. Horizontal is doing more of the same, or moving from the past to the present to the future. So you're moving in time. So just being old doesn't mean you're wise. I mean, I'm actually now feeling it more and more that with time, all I'm doing is getting more set into what I know, what I do, and I keep doing that. Am I learning? Am I growing? Am I on a higher state? Am I full of selfless love? Am I full of this light that shows, everything clearly? So love, light, and peace is growing with me. Would you call that progress, or having more money and more houses and more cars is called progress? So, or corporate ladder, right? So the question is, one, what do you call progress? And two, what do you call bad habits? Because, again, we need to evaluate that. Are we comparing it with, ourselves with others for good, bad, or whatever reason, or we are actually growing vertically? And any hurdle to that vertical growth needs to be tackled. So you need to come out of your comfort zone into the zone of self-discipline, where you create new habits, and new habits is learning. That's growth. I think we can pause there. And somebody gave me like, okay, we got it. So anyway. So I think we'll switch over from the English session to the Hindi mode. Is that okay? Any last minute thoughts, comments, or questions before we switch over? What? No, we're just wrapping up. Yeah, yeah. So this, satsang workshop is online every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. And Substack articles are on satsang.substack.com. We'll send that out. Okay, so switching gears now. So thank you, everyone. We'll see everyone in the regular satsang workshop. So Tuesday, 7 p.m. and Saturday, 10 a.m. And for now, we're switching back to our Guru Purnima session, and we'll go to Jaipur for further.
आवाज आ रही है? उनसे पूछ लो।
जी भी आवाज आ रही है आपकी।
ठीक। तो अभी हम सब ने गुरु पूर्णिमा का प्रोग्राम जो हमारा हुआ मथुरा, टूंडला, जयपुर और ग्वालियर, उसे अटेंड किया। और गुरु के बारे में और उनकी गुणों के बारे में और गुरु शिष्य संबंधों के बारे में बहुत सी गहराई से बातें हुई। परम पूज्य संजीव भैया का भी प्रवचन ऑनलाइन हम सब के लिए रहा। एक भाई ने मुझे कहा कि संजीव, परम पूज्य संजीव भैया एक ही टॉपिक को ले लेते हैं, गुरु महाराज के, पंडित जी महाराज या किसी के भी हमारे संतों के, और फिर उसको महीनों तक एक्सप्लेन करते रहते हैं। और इसके लिए फिराग गोरखपुरी का एक प्रसंग है कि उनसे वो जब पढ़ाते थे तो ऐसा कुछ हुआ कि उन्होंने वर्ड्सवर्थ को 3 महीने तक वो अपनी क्लास में उसी का वो एक्सप्लेन करते रहे, उसी को का सेशन चलता रहा। तो एक स्टूडेंट ने खड़े होकर उनसे कहा कि क्या यही कविता यहीं समाप्त हो जाएगी? तो उन्होंने उस स्टूडेंट से पूछा कि तुम कहाँ रहते हो, क्या करते हो? तो वो बोला मैं अकेला रहता हूँ, खुद ही खाना बनाता हूँ। तो उन्होंने कहा कि तुम खिचड़ी बनाते हो? तो बोले हाँ मैं खिचड़ी बनाता हूँ। तो तुम खिचड़ी पक गई या नहीं, उसको केवल एक चावल को देख करके ही तुम ये अंदाजा लगा लेते हो कि पूरी खिचड़ी पक गई, सारे चावल पक गए। ऐसे ही यदि किसी एक को ये गुरु महाराज का जो ये परम पूज्य संजीव भैया का तरीका है, ये अनूठा है कि अगर एक चावल भी पक गया तो सारा ही कुछ पक गया। ऐसा ये हम लोगों को, हम बहुत भाग्यशाली हैं कि ऐसे थिंकर और फिलोसफर के शब्द हमको सुनने को मिलते हैं। और क्योंकि जितने भी गुरु के बारे में हमने सुना तो बहुत सारा अथाह सागर है, और जैसे उसकी था पाना बहुत मुश्किल है। इसीलिए ये कितना अच्छा है कि किसी एक ही चावल को देख लिया जाए तो सभी के बारे में पता चल जाता है। और गुरु के बारे में यही कहा जाता है कि दो मुख्य, जो कुछ फिलॉसफीज हैं उसमें ये कहा गया कि दो मुख्य गुण हैं, एक उनका प्रकाश है और एक उनका गुण है कि वो दर्पण है। प्रकाश तो ये है कि वो सत्य का प्रकाश है। जैसे परम पूज्य पंडित जी महाराज ने कहा है कि जब सूर्य की किरणें पड़ती हैं तो हमें संसार की सारी वस्तुओं का ज्ञान होता है, वो हमें ठीक ठीक नजर आने लग जाती है। ऐसे ही परमात्मा का ज्ञान, परमात्मा को देखना है तो वो गुरु के प्रकाश में देखा जा सकता है, क्योंकि वो सत्य का प्रकाश है। और इसके लिए ये है कि हमारा जो जीवन है उसमें दो रास्ते हमारे सम्मुख कहे गए हैं। एक वो रास्ता है जो प्रकाशमयी है, और एक वो रास्ता है जो अंधकारमयी है। और इसके लिए हमको जीवन में किसी समय ये निर्णय करना होता है कि हमको किधर जाना है। गुरु की आवाज भी आती है, कानों में भी पड़ जाती है, लेकिन फिर भी वो विवेक नहीं होने के कारण किधर जाना है वो पता नहीं चलता। और अगर प्रकाश की जो प्रकाशमयी रास्ता है उस पे अगर चल भी लेते हैं तो भी ठोकर लगने के उसमें भी रहते हैं, इसलिए किसी के साथ की जरूरत होती है। और जहाँ अंधकारमयी है उसकी तो बात क्या है, क्योंकि ना तो वहाँ कुछ दिखलाई पड़ रहा है ना वहाँ कुछ है, वो तो अंधकार ही है। वहाँ तो बस चलना है, ये नहीं पता कि ये किस ओर ले जा रहा है, कब कहाँ गड्ढा है कहाँ खाई है। और जो एक बार अंधेरे में जो चल भी निकलता है, लेकिन कुछ ऐसे होते हैं कि जो थोड़ा आगे जाकर सहम जाते हैं और उनको याद आती है कि अब ये मैं गलत रास्ते पर आ गया, और तब वो वापस आता है। क्योंकि कभी जीवन के उस रास्ते पर वो लौटना चाहता है, और तब वो जो आवाज उसको अंतर में दिखलाई पड़ती है उसकी उसकी तरफ वो जब बढ़ता है, वापस को लौटता है, तब उसे वो रोशनी दिखाई देती है। और तब वो उसकी तरफ जब वो वापस उस रोशनी को देखता है, वहां उसको जो जो बातें उसको पहले सुनाई दी थी वो अब दूसरे ही आयाम पे सुनाई देती हैं। और वहां से उसका और सुंदर गुरु शिष्य का संबंध होता है। कई सारे गुरु महाराज के इतने सारे जो उनके जो आए, कोई शराब का सेवन करता था, कोई यहाँ तक कि कुछ तो चोरी इत्यादि भी करते थे, लेकिन गुरु महाराज ने यही कहा कि मैं तो उन्हीं के लिए आया हूं। वही उनके सम्मुख आके जो काम हुआ वो दर्पण हुआ, कि उनकी नजर के सामने आ गया। तो वो गुरु एक दर्पण है जिसके अंतर में जो भी साधक, जो भी मनुष्य जिस अवस्था में है, उसकी आत्मा और उसका जो भी उसके ऊपर के जो भी कालिमा है उसको एक ही नजर में धो देना और दर्पण की तरह साफ कर देना, ये गुरु का काम। इसीलिए, और जैसे हमने कई बार देखा ही है कि गुरु महाराज जी या माँ पंडित जी महाराज के सामने कोई जाता था तो सहसा ही उसकी अश्रुपात होने लगता था। जाने क्या ऐसा होता था कि उसको ऐसा लगता था कि सारी उसकी अंतर में सारे जितने भी उसके ऊपर आवरण थे, अब उसको कैसे कहा जाए, लेकिन दृष्टि अंतर में ऐसी पड़ी कि ऐसा लगा कि जैसे कुछ भूला हुआ वापस घर को आ गया, जैसे मैं इनको बरसों से जानता हूं। ऐसी कोई अंतर की आवाज आई और वो इतना शुद्धतम, उस वो जो क्षण है वो ऐसा जिसकी कोई व्याख्या नहीं की जा सकती। वो गुरु शिष्य की जो रिलेशनशिप है वो बन जाती है, क्योंकि जाने पिछले जन्मों के संबंध रहे। सभी कहते हैं, सारे संत यही कहते आए हैं कि ये तो पिछले जन्मों का कोई संबंध था, कि मैं जैसे ही सम्मुख आया ऐसा लगा जैसे मैं इन्हें परसों से जानता हूं। ये इसीलिए हिंदू शास्त्र और ब्रह्म की व्याख्या करते हुए कहते हैं कि ये सनातन है। बाकी कोई नहीं कहता, क्योंकि वो कहते हैं कि ये पहले भी था और आगे भी रहेगा। और कुछ कहते हैं कि वो वर्तमान है, आज है। लेकिन गुरु महाराज की ये ऐसी महान विद्या है जो एक ही समय में, एक ही जीवन में हमको ये भी बतला देती है कि ये सनातन है, जो पहले भी था और आगे भी है। और ये भी बतला देती है कि ये वर्तमान है, न आगे है न पीछे। ऐसी साक्षात अनुभव करा देने वाली ये साधना है, जिसका इसीलिए कहा गया है, गुरु महाराज ने इसीलिए इसे कई साधनाओं की मिलौनी कहा है। इसको ठीक ठीक इसकी फिलॉसफी पे, कसौटी पे उतारना बड़ा मुश्किल है। तभी वो कहते हैं कि यहाँ पर स्थूल का भी हमारे से रिश्ता रखो, सूक्ष्म का भी रखो, कारण का भी रखो, और फिर आगे कारण से परे की अवस्था है जहां कुछ नहीं। ऐसी ये जो हमको ऐसा ज्ञान हुआ है। लेकिन दादा गुरु महाराज ने कहा है कि ज्ञान यही है कि हर जगह अपने गुरु को देखो। ये अगर दिखने लग जाते हैं तो ये तुम सबसे बड़े ज्ञानी हो। तुम्हारी वो अवस्था कि जहां उनको ही हर स्थान पे, कण कण में देखना, हर उनकी लीला को अपने जीवन में देखना। और जैसे पंडित जी महाराज और बाबू जी महाराज ने कहा कि पहले संसार, ध्यान करते हैं तो पहले संसार आता है, फिर परमात्मा आता है, और एक समय आता है जब संसार में ही परमात्मा दिखने लगता है। तो ऐसे महान, दिव्य और अनूठे सत्संग में हम बैठते हैं। थोड़ा इसको अपनाने की आवश्यकता है, और उसी जो जैसा बतलाया जाता है वैसा ही अगर करेंगे तो निश्चित ही उस आत्मा के ऊपर जो हमारे पर्दे हैं, जो हमारे अंतर में उतरते ही वो साफ होते हैं, और फिर करुणा, प्रेम, निष्कामता सब दिखलाई पड़ने लगता है। अंतर के गुण बाहर को आने लगते हैं, सारे संशय खत्म होने लगते हैं। ये अभी हम लोग ने एक ऐसा दिव्य, जो सबके बीच में, जब हम उस विशाल आध्यात्मिक चेतना में उन महान संतों को याद करते हैं, तो फिर उसकी स्मृति कैद हो जाती है। और वो जैसे कहते हैं कि फूड फॉर थॉट, ऐसे ही वो हमारे लिए आने वाले कुछ महीनों के लिए हमारी साधना का भोजन है। उसी याद में हम बैठे हैं। ये नैवेद्य गुरु महाराज का उनके चरणों में रखा है। ऐसा कहा गया है कि देर कर देता हूं मैं, ऐसा मुनीर नियाजी का एक शेर है कि देर कर देता हूं मैं, किसी को बुलाना हो, किसी से बात करनी हो, किसी तरफ को जाना हो, देर कर देता हूं। ये आपने हम सबको अपना लिया, हम सबके लिए ये राह रख छोड़ी, लेकिन फिर भी अगर हम देर कर रहे हैं तो आप हमारा हम पर दया करें, कृपा करें, वापस उस अंधकार से उस प्रकाश की ओर ले आए। 2 मिनट ये नैवेद्य गुरु महाराज को।
मन वृंदावन में अटको, मेरो मन हरि चरणन में अटको। बन के जोगन दौलत ब्रज में, बन के जोगन दौलत ब्रज में, पीवत यमुना जल को, मेरो मन वृंदावन में अटको। मेरो मन हरि चरणन में अटको। मेरो मेरो मुझ में कुछ ना मोहन, तेरी मिट्टी तेरो कण कण, तेरो मेरो मुझ में कुछ ना मोहन, तेरी मिट्टी तेरो कर कर। वृंदावन की कुंज गलिन में, वृंदावन की कुंज गलिन में, मिल जाओ प्रभु मुझको। मेरो मन हरि चरणन में अटको। इस जोगन के तुम हो साजन, करना है सब आत्मा समर्पण। इस जोगन के तुम हो साजन, करना है सब आत्मा समर्पण। अंत समय आनंद मिले मोहे, अंत समय आनंद मिले मोहे। बस वेणु के रस को मेरो मन वृंदावन में अटको। मेरो मन हरि चरणन में अटको। याद में तोरी भई बावरी, सुध लो मोरी कुंज बिहारी। याद में तोरी भई बावरी, सुध लो मोरी कुंज बिहारी। अब आओ मेरे प्राण प्यारे, अब आओ मेरे प्राण प्यारे। अपनाओ या जन को, मेरो मन वृंदावन में अटको। मेरो मन हरि चरणन में अटको। बन के जोगन दौलत ब्रज में, पीवत यमुना जल को। मेरो मन वृंदावन में अटको। मेरो मन हरि चरणन में अटको। मेरो मन वृंदावन में अटको।
जिसकी जुबां पर श्री नंदन नंदन, अगर भूल के तेरा नाम आ गया है। जिसकी जुबां पर श्री नंदन नंदन, अगर भूल के तेरा नाम आ गया है। वो मुश्किल कुशा जिसने तुझको पुकारा, मुसीबत में वो तेरे काम आ गया है। इसी धुन में मीरा लगी जहर पीने, इसी धुन में मीरा लगी जहर पीने। इशारा किया था गर्भ से किसी ने, इशारा किया था गर्भ से किसी ने। न घबरा तू मीरा, कहा कृष्ण जी ने। न घबरा तू मीरा, कहा कृष्ण जी ने। तेरे हक में अमृत का जाम आ गया है। वो जिसकी जुबां पर श्री नंद नंदन, अगर भूल के तेरा नाम आ गया है। उभारी थी तूफान से भक्तों की कश्ती, उभारी थी तूफान से भक्तों की कश्ती। बना दी सुदामा की सोने की बस्ती, बना दी सुदामा की सोने की बस्ती। मिटा दो प्रभु जी मेरी तंग दस्ती, मिटा दो प्रभु जी मेरी तंग दस्ती। समझ लो शरण में गुलाम आ गया है। वो जिसकी जुबां पे श्री नंद नंदन, अगर भूल के तेरा नाम आ गया है, जपे भक्त जो जन यही नाम अक्षर, जपे भक्त जो जन यही नाम अक्षर, श्री राम राघव श्री श्याम सुंदर, श्री राम राघव श्री श्याम सुंदर, नहीं कोई दुनिया में इसके बराबर, कि जिसकी जुबां पर कलाम आ गया है, वो मुश्किल खुशा जिसने तुझको पुकारा, मुसीबत में वो तेरे काम आ गया है, वो जिसकी जुबां पर श्री नंद नंदन, अगर भूल के तेरा नाम आ गया है।
Lunch will be served shortly. तो एक भजन ऑनलाइन करा देते हैं। तो टाइमिंग तो इवनिंग का यहाँ 7 PM रहेगा। तो वो मेरे को अभी टेक्स्ट किया कि इंडिया का टाइम भी बता दें। तो 4:30 बजे सुबह 4:30 AM इन द मॉर्निंग हमारा इवनिंग सेशन होगा, और 7:30 PM 7:30 बजे शाम का रहेगा। और उसमें I've requested Mohit ji to participate also. तो या 4:30 AM 7:30 PM इंडिया टाइम, और यहाँ पे 7 बजे शाम का, और कल 10 बजे का शार्प रहेगा as usual. Anything else to announce? तो एक दो भजन और कर लेते हैं while the lunch is getting heated up. तो नूतन जी हैं?
जी, सादर प्रणाम। बारंबार सबको प्रणाम। संतों सो सतगुरु हम पाए, संतों सो सतगुरु हम पाए, जो आवागमन मिटावे, सो सतगुरु हम पावे, संतों सो सतगुरु हम पावे, डोलत डिगे न बोलत बिसरे, डोलत डिगे न बोलत बिसरे, जस उपदेश पढ़ावे, बिन श्रम हठ करिया सुन्यारो, सहज समाधि लगावे, सहज समाधि लगावे, संतों सो सतगुरु हम पावे। जो आवागमन मिटावे सो सतगुरु हम पावे। द्वार न रोंधे पवन न रोके, द्वार न रोंधे पवन न रोके। नहीं अनहद उलझावे, यह मन जहाँ जाए तहाँ भय निर्भय। समता में ठहरावे, समता में ठहरावे। संतों सो सतगुरु हम पावे। जो आवागमन मिटावे सहज समाधि लगावे। संतों सो सतगुरु हम पावे। कर्म करे सब रहे अकर्मी, कर्म करे सब रहे अकर्मी। ऐसी युक्ति बतावे सदा आनंद अंध सो न्यारो। सदा आनंद अंध सो न्यारो। भोग में योग करावे, भोग में योग करावे। संतों सो सतगुरु हम पावे। जो भोग में योग करावे सो सतगुरु हम पावे। तज धरती आकाश अधर में, तज धरती आकाश अधर में। प्रेम मरैया छावे, ज्ञान शिखर की शून्य शिला पर, ज्ञान शिखर की शून्य शिला पर। आसन अचल जमावे सो सतगुरु हम पावे। संतों सो सतगुरु हम पावे। जो आवागमन मिटावे सो सतगुरु हम पावे। बाहर भीतर एक ही देखे, बाहर भीतर एक ही देखे। दूजा भाव मिटावे कह कबीर सोई सतगुरु पूरा। कह कहे कबीर सोई सतगुरु पूरा, घट बिच अलख लखावे, घट बिच अलख लखावे, संतों सो सतगुरु हम पावे। जो घट बिच अलख लखावे, सो सतगुरु हम पावे। जो सहज समाधि बतावे, सो सतगुरु हम पावे। संतों सो सतगुरु हम पावे। भोग में योग करावे, सो सतगुरु हम पावे। संतों सो सतगुरु